Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the SirLinksalot podcast. I'm your host, Artemis Peacock, and today I'm with our CEO yet again, Nicholas Altimore. Nick, how are you doing today? Don't lie.
I'm doing fine, I guess. I slept, I don't know how many hours, so I'm feeling a little brain foggy, if I'm being honest. That's the problem with letting your body decide that it needs to sleep for a long time every once in a while is I feel more groggy after the long sleep than I do after the short ones, you know?
Yeah,
The
there's actually
yeah.
like a window where if you
Mhm.
get more sleep than that, then it just makes you even more tired.
Yeah.
Things that I learned working for a pediatric sleep consultancy, which is why your baby is screaming.
That makes sense. That makes sense. I want to be screaming right now. I'm not gonna lie. Let's see how foggy I am through this. I feel like borderline hungover, and there's no
Really?
reason for that, really. Yeah, I yeah,
No? Wow,
feel
when I'm
just
sleep deprived,
tired and slow.
I look like I'm actually like dying. Like I look like I died 5 years ago when
Well,
I'm tired. So I applaud you for looking human today.
as you know, I didn't realize we were gonna podcast today, so I took a shower and I shaved a little bit so you wouldn't bully me. But on the
Yeah, I would
inside,
bully you.
I am dying. Okay, on the
Well,
inside.
you don't look like what you're going through. And side note, everybody, I just want to make it very clear that oh, hold on,
So I was
mug.
just showing off our Sir Links. This is the death metal SirLinksalot, which for me that's the one I like. But I have
On
corporate
brand.
SirLinksalot as well. For the I don't want to call them the more boring people, but the more corporate people, I guess, so
It's
to
me.
speak. That's
I'm
you?
I'm the
Oh,
more
really?
boring. I don't know. I just
Mm,
like our logo. I think it's nice.
Death metal for me. Okay, go ahead. Sorry, I interrupted you.
Oh, I was just about to expose you. The invite for this meeting had the word podcasting on it.
I didn't reply to it, and honestly, I don't even think I opened that email so far. I so I
I mean,
no,
like, I
doesn't
don't know
count.
how you keep track of anything. Like, if it weren't for my calendar, the first thing that I do when I wake up in the morning is I check my calendar and then I make a list of all the things that I have to do for that day. Literally the first thing. I can't function if I don't do those things.
So I have like the dumbed down version where I use Trello. So anybody that's out there that's looking for an organizer, if you're kind of like a slapdick about it like me, then yes, Trello, and I just make my little cards. Everything that I have to do as it arises, I just throw it in there. Most of it goes into my back burner pile. And then first thing in the morning, I get in there and I pull the cards that I will work on throughout the day or that like need to be done quickly. And then I'll go through them. And so it's not the most organized, but it's not the worst system I've seen for
Yeah, I wonder if there's
managing
like a
stuff.
psychology around that as to like if humans are more likely to actually get tasks done if they do it that way because it seems effective.
I couldn't tell you. I don't know. I need help with some of that stuff, as you know. So, you don't have to sugarcoat it. It is what it is.
Well, so far we're making great progress. We got you here today, even though you're exhausted and do not feel like existing today, which is fine.
Yeah.
We all
Yeah.
have those days, but this one's going to
Yes.
be kind of fun. I was looking
Okay.
forward to it because I liked the selection. So we do sometimes do current events in our Facebook group, the SEO Roundtable, but they're all very, I don't want to say stuffy, but they're very corporate. There's something that you
Hmm.
would want to know if you're like very much tuned into the industry, which is good for people like SEOs and marketers who want to stay on top of those sorts of things in order to do better work. But
Which,
I
if
think
you do, join us on SEO Roundtable in Facebook. That is our Facebook group where we're actively talking about all things marketing. You can bring your questions. There's always somebody helpful to answer. So yeah, SEO Roundtable. Type it into search on Facebook, and you will find us there daily.
and also we
That's
post clips from the podcast too. So if you forget to watch, then you can just hop in there and get
that's
assaulted with our podcast on your Facebook newsfeed as well.
yeah. Why
So
not?
we also post current events in there. And it's really good if you want to actually stay on top of what's going on in the industry, maybe a good conversation starter with your clients, and maybe something that's going to actually affect your work depending on what industry that you're in. But there's a lot of ones that have like fun marketing, social media, AI angle that we overlook because they seem a little too trendy. So today I'm going to bring those to the forefront because I think it'll be really fun to get your take on these current events, Nick. And I think that some of these you and our listeners have actually heard about before. If you don't live under a freaking rock, but some of these were a little bit new to me as well. So I'm excited to see what you think and if you've actually even heard of some of these things that are going on.
Well, people
First,
know how I feel about trendy stuff, so this should be fun.
you're a trendsetter. Oh my gosh. Every day you log into TikTok and you're like, oh my gosh, this is going to go wild on crypto.
No, hey, I am a trendsetter, but that makes me hate trends. Okay,
Because now it's not cool because you
right?
said it.
Yeah,
Fair
yeah,
enough.
yeah.
Hipster. Okay. The first one I want to talk about, I think that you've heard about this because it was like a big thing, because it's something that's also probably going to be rolling out to other countries as well. So, Australia now has a ban on social media for people who are under 16 years old. Have you heard about that?
I have seen it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they're talking about rolling it out, I think, to the UK as well. So what happened was they threatened to fine all of these large social media platforms if they didn't enforce this rule with ID verification and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So Reddit actually filed a lawsuit, a whole entire lawsuit, saying that it was like an invasion of privacy or something or other. They called the law an infringement of free political expression. First of all, do you agree that children under 16 should not be on social media, just like in general? Can we just get that out of the way?
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Mine's nowhere near 16, but he is definitely, he might get to watch a YouTube video if I'm sitting there, his mom's sitting there with him, watching them like transform a transformer or something along those lines. But outside of that, it's like no social media whatsoever, no playing with the phone, even video games and stuff like that. At his age, I'm yeah, very anti. I see a lot of his friends playing Roblox and all these things now, and based off what I know, even just like what I know about the heads of that particular company, absolutely not. You're not going to be on there. No.
So is it just like because they're video games in general, or because they're MMOs where you have access to chat with other people?
It has to do with the chat and their perspective on they know that there are things going on within Roblox that are very bad for children or connecting them to bad people, bad actors.
Yeah.
And it seems like every time you watch an interview, about that, they just don't care. I think the CEO, if I'm remembering that correctly, talked about the widespread ability for pedophiles to get on there should be seen as a possible advantage versus a negative. Yeah, that was like a
For
recent.
Roblox?
Yeah, yeah. So like I'm just it's
Yeah.
not for me. Yeah. And so like, social media, etc. I agree. It's funny because I don't know if it was a meme, but I really liked it. But I saw the opposite too, where they were talking about they would be banning anybody over 60 from social media recently.
Oh, I totally agree with
I'm
that.
like, fuck yeah, get them off. They are all too dumb. Sorry if you're out there and you enjoy our show, but get them off there before AI completely destroys their brain even more than Yahoo News or any number of fucking other things out there. Yeah, get them off.
I really think that sometimes allowing your elderly parents to be on social media is elder abuse, because you literally see them doing the most like ridiculous like things on social, like believing every AI generated thing they
Everything.
see,
Yeah.
believing every fake news that comes across. Like they'll be making major life decisions based getting scammed by who they think is like Keanu Reeves on Facebook.
Oh yeah.
Like it's unethical to allow older people.
Yes.
Period.
So older and younger, keep them off. I'm fine with it. Yeah,
Yeah.
get them out of there.
I would go as far as to say that I think everybody under 18 should be banned from social media. I think
Yeah,
16 is too low.
yeah, I could see that too. But yeah, I don't have an issue with the concept of keeping kids offline to protect them, especially. I look at our kiddo. he's got active parents where they're,
My
helping
godson.
them grow up, etc. Right? But yeah, exactly. But I think a lot of kids out there, are kind of raising themselves. And when you consider like raising, this is something that got brought up recently. I was talking about, I remember the first time I saw a beheading video, right? Which I was probably in like junior high. That was a new ish kind of concept going, all over
First
the
beheading just dropped. Kind of
yeah,
nervous.
and it was a like the I know it sounds like off-putting, but it's like that was something that kids were talking about at the time. Like there was different avenues to go see that kind of stuff. I was never into it, but that's what I'm talking about. It was just this kind of wave of access that then morbid curiosity got these kids on avenues like I think the big one was rotten.com or gore.com
Yeah.
back then, all those things, right? And
Yeah.
now I think it's an even scarier place than it was. So like the concept of like a kid under a certain age just having ability to explore whatever, yeah, it's a scary place out there, and it can be
Right.
weaponized against their mentality. So like yeah, I do
Yeah.
consider it like there is a serious aspect to digesting that information. You're not taking away their rights. It's almost like there's a bad neighborhood over here. You don't just let your kid wander off into it. By
I like that
themselves.
analogy. I totally get what you mean. For me, for you, it was the rotten.com beheading videos.
Yeah,
When I was in junior
yeah.
high,
What did you get? I'm sure it's worse.
it was way worse. When I was
Yeah.
in junior high, what was popping off was like two girls, one cup.
Hmm.
So there were just like a bunch of my friends. Keep in mind, we were like
Yeah.
14 years old, 13 years old. Bunch of my friends were like passing around because they saw a video on 4chan or something. And I'm marked safe from watching it. I just kind of watch everybody's faces while they were watching it. And I'm like, I'm good on all that. But everyone saw it. And it's like,
Yeah.
why were we 14 years old watching people poop in a well, why are we watching poop fetish videos
Yeah, but
at
that's
14?
that's that's the power of the internet, right? Like the memeability of absolutely anything. You can make it spread like wildfire, and especially the more obscure it is, the yeah, I don't know. Now there's
Yeah.
even that seems not so bad compared to like some of the stuff available now. Like anyhow, yeah,
Yeah,
keep
this
them
is
off.
nothing, like, by
No,
the way. And we were
no.
talking we weren't recording when we were talking about this, were we? About ISIS brides? No, I
Mm-mm.
do not believe that we were.
Which is it's a big thing. Artemis studies this, so she is not just casually talking about it. She can tell you, she could write a book about this stuff.
A book. I know everything about pretty much every defected ISIS bride from the West, including Australia, which is kind of like, I know it sounds weird. Like, I'm not that kind of person. I just want disclaimer for the FBI. I'm not interested in ISIS. I don't even know what the acronym stands for. And I'm not Muslim yet.
You're
So,
taking a journalistic approach to it, though.
yeah.
Yeah, yes, yeah.
Okay. For those who aren't familiar with my particular brand of weird, I'm a cultural anthropologist, but I'm not like educated in it. I'm just really good at it. So they're like little modems of study that I like to do of things that just interest the crap out of me. And I like going to other people's countries, learning language, and then finding out about these little niche things. One of those things is ISIS brides. And a lot of them actually transited through Turkey when going into Syria. So it was like this huge thing where they were trying to have people on the lookout. They would have like signs sometimes warning people like, hey, if someone contacted you online and tried to tell you to go to a different location, like tell somebody you know. They were targeting it towards young girls and young men in particular.
Hmm.
And a lot of them were radicalized on the internet, on Twitter. And these were like school age children, 14, 15, 16 years old sometimes, who would be
Right.
seeing these videos like the ones that Nick was talking about, like the beheading videos. But some of them were also seeing like very good ISIS propaganda, like just come hang out in Syria with us. Okay. You'll have some kids, that's true, but they'll be like this cute little playground. And everybody will be so nice to you, and it'll be like a little paradise and a little heaven. I think that because of the nature of the internet, there's no way that all those kids going did not also see the beheading videos. They were saying that they only saw like the positive caliphate propaganda.
Mm.
I don't
Yeah.
think that's the case because I
don't
know how the internet works, right? What do you
I don't
think?
think it's possible just based off the rabbit holes I've seen. I'm like, there's no way, yeah, that you get this isolated viewpoint that's just all sunflowers and butterflies. No, nah.
Yeah.
And furthermore, it's like, we're looking at it from the viewpoint of like a very extreme example, right? We're talking ISIS, which I think like ISIS was created by what's that one country out there? Oh, and you know, that kind of propaganda got pushed out, or rather is continually getting pushed out by actors all over the world, right? Like, so if we think about young budding minds and the ability for their mindset to get skewed on like a grand level, like it's coming at them from all angles on the internet. Even
Mm,
like, for myself, and I talk about this all the time, I told you, I feel like I'm going schizo sometimes with the amount of information that we've been given, and the amount of rabbit holes that like, we can go down. But yeah,
yeah.
I think it's a dangerous place for a lot of different reasons.
Even for a grown adult. So you're
Hmm.
saying that you're feeling this overexposure to
Sure.
information.
Hmm.
You have a fully developed brain, allegedly. I haven't, fact checked that, but I'm just gonna, assume.
Mm.
Uh, I feel the same way often, but it's a little difficult because our jobs are very much online. So, even for me, finding that balance is rough. I can't even imagine with a child in like today's modern era trying to navigate that because when I was a child and the internet was like internet culture was in its infancy, I I regret being online actually. I don't think
Hmm.
that my parents should have let me online. And one of the first things I did when I turned 14 was go and make a Facebook because all the kids were on the
Oh,
Facebook. All
really?
the kids were on it. Yeah, and my mom went through and checked because she's like fully convinced that I'm a pathological liar because she is. So she went I was like, I don't have a Facebook yet.
Shout
She
out
went
to
through,
mom.
shout out. Anyway, she went through to make sure that I wasn't lying about already having a Facebook, and she typed in all of my nicknames, all of like the names like that I could have used on Facebook. And she saw I didn't have one, and she was okay, fine, you can make a Facebook. It was like my coming of age because you had to be like 13 or 14.
Uh-huh.
And ever since then, ever since I was a little girl, I know I wanted to spend too much time on Facebook, and like here we are.
And you
I
do.
don't.
Yeah, but
I
you've
should
turned it
not.
into a business and everything, right? So like there's positives here.
I
How,
mean, yeah,
how
I
do you
love the
feel
internet.
about your upbringing with you as like a purely internet or coming of age like in the or
Digitally native is what I call it.
thank you, digitally native. Yeah. Because like, for my generation we had pre-internet where yeah, that was a really wonderful time to be honest. But I wouldn't take it over the internet age either. I'm glad I got to experience both. And like, I can't give you, some roundabout idea of which one was better or not. There's positives to both. But yeah,
Yeah.
you've been consistently bombarded with social media since you gave into it, right? Like you've never gotten, what's the longest you've taken a break from social media since you got on? Never, right?
I don't know.
Never done it.
I've been on social media every day for the past like at least 17 years. I don't take social media breaks, and it's
Yeah.
not because like we were talking about this at my holiday party this weekend actually. One of my guests is probably the most like well-rounded, regular, like well-bred person that I know. Like she's just a really solid human being. And she was telling me that her and her children take internet breaks and they have like no phone days every
Hmm.
couple of weeks. And I was trying to imagine myself doing such a thing, but I can't because, like you said, I'm very digitally native. And I'm like, I have an internet addiction. I will fully admit it. Like, I've always been this way. Now, my brain is wired to where if I don't see my phone, I get anxious because
Well,
I
but
don't know where it is.
you could take the break. You just are not, you don't want to do that.
I'm
You're
physically
an
incapable.
addict. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
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 I mean, I guess theoretically, if I wanted to, I could, but it's been such like a, you know, integral part of my life and even my upbringing to a certain point. Like, when I was growing up with the internet, nobody was equipped for some of the things that I was exposed to, like the
No.
harassment, the bullying. There was
Mhm.
no actual
Yeah.
framework for that. You don't know the kind of people who would do things like that. Like no one's seen it before. So
Right.
nobody could help me. I was just getting roasted by grown men online at the
Right. And that,
tender age of 15.
Yeah, that's something that you really went through, right? Like that left a lasting impression was yeah, the bullying or the cyberbullying and all that really yeah, there's a
Yeah.
lot to it. You see these kids, you know, or documentaries on the kids that have committed suicide or any number of things due to the online bullying. And yeah, I even think about it like, you know, when I grew up previous to the internet, it was already a thing. The internet compounded the ability for like, you know, rumors to spread like wildfire, people to feel overwhelmed on the sense that like they'll never be able to get away from a certain image that they've been portrayed as. Like, yeah, a rough thing for a kid. You know, kind of learning how to get
Yeah.
parents.
But
Yeah.
you had to get bullied, like, in real life, like, the good old-fashioned way, and you know how to deal with that. You
Hmm.
have a couple of options. You run and tell a trusted adult, you
Yeah.
beat their ass, or you run a slander campaign.
Yeah. Yeah.
You had solid
Yeah.
options, but, like, for us, it was just kind of like, what do you do? Like, you turn off your computer, then people are still spreading rumors about you, and they can really
Yeah.
actually harm your real life, reputation and stuff. But now we know, and now it's my job to teach people how to do that kind of reputation management. So obviously, I figured it out. But because of that, I feel like I'm more biased against the age of what children,
Sure.
like the age that's acceptable for children to be online. I don't think anyone
Hmm.
under 18, just period.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I agree. I think some people are gonna look at us and be like, "Y'all are crazy." I don't know.
Boomers or
Yeah,
booming.
yeah, you know, the type of boomer that probably gives like a kid a tablet so that they don't have to like, you know, actually work on them at all. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, not sorry.
Does your kid have a tablet, Nick, or is he strictly like a TV action figure guy?
TV action figure kid, yeah, for sure. And it's funny because like you know, his mom and I early on, like we already agreed, like he's not gonna be a tablet kid. We'll put it off as long as possible. But yeah, now he's like, you know, interested in video games and stuff, and like that's fine. He'll, you know, play Spyro with his mom or something along those lines, but it's not, you know, Roblox on a tablet connected to the, you know, Charlie
Yeah.
Kirk simulations and shit like that. Which, like, yeah, that's another thing on Roblox. Yeah, they've got entire rooms dedicated to the simulation of like that particular event where like kids can access. Roblox is a whole rabbit hole. If you're a parent and you haven't gone down this rabbit hole and, you know, gotten yourself scared of the internet just due to this and having a kid, then I think that's the best place to start right now. Um,
On
because yeah,
Roblox.
there's some horrific concepts based around, you know, what a kid can explore on there. Yeah.
Interesting.
Mm.
Speaking of kids, I'm gonna give you one that's kind of fun. I already
Okay,
know
what you
I
got?
already know what you're gonna say to this, Nick, so I'm just doing this just for, like, the love of the game at this point, okay? Have you heard about the Campbell's executive who
Oh
was
yeah.
secretly recorded?
Hmm.
Yeah. So
Yes.
for those of you who don't know, there was recently a Campbell's executive, as in the soup people, who was caught on a hot mic. I don't know who was hotting this mic, why it was in the room, or why they thought, you know what? I don't know what this motherfucker is about to say, but it's gonna be good. And they turned
Yeah.
on their phone, but it was good. It was
Hmm.
not good. It was racist, kind of. But anyway, he says, well, first of all, he describes his own product as quote unquote bioengineered meat. He
Yeah.
says, I don't want to eat a piece of chicken that came out of a 3D printer. We have shit for fucking poor people. Who buys our shit? I don't buy Campbell's products barely anymore. And he talks about how he doesn't feed his family, his kids, Campbell's products because it's all shit.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think there's tons of huge corporations like that that, you know, exist on the same thing. You want to go, you know, there literally endless opportunities to go down these giant conglomerate food rabbit holes and find, you know, that you probably shouldn't be eating it. You know,
Tyson chicken's a good one.
Tyson chicken's a huge one. McDonald's in and of itself is a good one. You know, yeah, just do the math on how many cows we have and how many burgers there's, you know, sending or selling on a daily basis. You're gonna hit some weird concepts in there. You know, we got biomechanically separated chicken with Campbell's. You've got other interesting rabbit holes when it comes to McDonald's and
Nick, I
other
want to know, I'm
corporations.
so sorry. What do you even eat? Like, I know you're very health conscious. What goes into your body?
You like very health conscious. Like I do the bare minimum when I'm at the grocery store. Like I read the ingredients, and if it's stuff that, like, for the most part, I can digest the label. Like I understand what it is. It's not a bunch of chemicals. Then, like, sure, like add it, right? So, like, I know how to go buy chicken, and it's chicken. I can put it in my cart, and then my freezer, and then my fridge, right? I just try and know that I'm eating actual food and that it's been processed to a minimum. However, I'm not like, I've got friends that are truly crazy about this stuff, and won't eat. I'll eat chemical candy here and there. It's not something that, like, I've completely abstained from, right? But are you gonna catch me going to McDonald's? Like, it would have to be like incredibly rare. And I definitely try and keep my
Really?
kid, eating as pure a food as possible. That doesn't mean like it's all
That's
completely
not
like
normal
perfect,
though.
but yeah, maybe not. But we're definitely not shopping at Walmart and getting all the best value crap. Like, no, I'm more conscious than that. And yeah, ideal me, utopian me. Yeah, I live on a farm where I know where everything came from, and that would be ideal. I just don't have that reality right now. Although it's something that, like, yeah, I hope I can work towards. I would like
Nick, you
that.
have the craziest self-concept ever because you're just saying all this stuff like it's like, man, all I do is read the labels and buy whole food. Like most people don't do that. And I'll take it a step further and I just love calling you out because like you have no idea how much you actually like pay attention to the things that actually like matter. Do you know what I mean? I was
I
talking
try.
about, yeah, I feel like you don't realize that most people don't even like they can't even be asked for those sorts of things. I was
No.
telling Nick that I really like the social media presence of Pine Sol, like the brand.
Hmm.
And I was talking about how they were really making everything super personable and not branded at all with their new TikTok strategy. And
Hmm.
he goes, Pine Sol, I don't clean with that shit. I don't put that shit in my house.
Endocrine disrupting garbage is what it is. I'm not, absolutely not. No.
Like you actually care about it. And I know for you, it's just kind of like, well, I know a guy who literally lives on a homestead and he hasn't had anything even focused on the
I
place
know a
for like
few of them. Yeah.
15 years. Yeah. But
I
I mean,
follow homeless people on my Instagram. That's where I get
oh, don't even get
inspiration
me
from.
started.
Speaking of which, I actually kind of wanted to plug that guy. If I remember his name again, I'm gonna get him some
Why?
followers on. I like him. He starts off the morning in a tent, having survived the freezing cold, eating Campbell's soup. I'm pretty sure that's your Campbell's soup demographic, right? And every day he just starts up and he's like, "Hey guys, wonderful day out here," and it's just, he's got a
So
good,
can
he's got a
tell
positive
us about
outlook
this.
on life. It's nice. I like him. I
I
like
know who
him.
you're talking about, but I want you to tell the people who this guy is and why he's on your newsfeed.
I don't know how I found him. I don't know what on my Instagram algorithm brought him to me, but I'm glad it happened. And it's just it's a guy, and he's in a tent, and I can tell he's gone through like a rough patch, but he says he doesn't ask for anything. Like, all it is he's just there being positive, and that's like all. Like that's a huge portion of this thing, right? Like, because I dove into it, I'm like, okay, originally maybe I just forwarded it to Artemis and some friends thinking it was, funny, or like, there wasn't much to it. But no, then I kind of resonated with the fact that, like, he's just doing the best he can, and I like that. And so why wouldn't I be supportive of somebody doing the best they can while not asking for anything in return? And it's just some guy
That's
doing
the big
just
part,
that
isn't it?
on Instagram. And
Yeah.
there's truth behind like all this stuff he says, right? He's not trying to sell anything. He's not trying to get anything. He's just showing up every day saying, I survived. and I think there's merit there. I don't know
I think
exactly what
that,
it is, but
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I think that in general, people are kind of just sick of seeing overly curated shit on social media. So
Hmm.
actually, you're not the only fan of this guy. I checked out his page, and he's got quite
He's
a few
getting
fans,
he's
like
getting bigger.
genuinely. Yeah, he's
Yeah,
getting bigger. Genuine
yeah.
fans. People who are just finding this guy. Keep in mind, he's got absolutely nothing. He all he has is vibes, and he's got people tuning in to his vibes. Just because you're right, he's not asking for anything. He's just trying to share himself and his truth with the world, which I guess is kind of like on the same vein of what we try to do with our podcast as well. Just kind of exist and be us and be genuine, and
Hmm.
the right people who are looking will find you. But this guy is nothing like I've ever seen before. He's very unique. Are you looking for him?
Yeah, I'm trying to find him, but we'll have to put a link down
Yeah,
in the
we'll plug him.
description once. Yeah, yeah, once. But
We'll
he
plug the
deserves
guy
other
and maybe give him a
followers.
voucher for some Campbell's soup.
Yeah, Campbell's soup. No, let's get him some. Let's buy him like half a cow. Farm
A whole
raised.
cow. Yeah, the
Yeah.
natural.
Mhm.
Give him a whole freaking homestead.
Mhm.
If this guy gets a homestead before me, I'm
Deserves
not
it.
even gonna be mad. I
There's
wouldn't
another.
be mad.
Yeah, there's another guy I follow. It's similar situation. Only he was saving up to buy land, and it looks like he finally saved up $5,000, and he's going to buy land with it.
And do what with the
I don't know.
land?
He's been living in a yurt, just kind of surviving it. Anyhow, I got a few of these guys on my social media. I'm
Your
trying
news is
to tune
interesting.
my algo into just maybe a broader concept of what the worldview is supposed to be like. It's not all, again, the sunflowers and butterflies thing. Sometimes it's a little nitty gritty, but maybe not so nitty gritty that I'm off put like some of, yeah.
Yeah, nothing
Yeah.
that's like I feel like the things that you expose yourself to are what your reality is.
Yes.
So I only have positive content on my algorithm, like literally nothing. It's all, and you were talking about how you're now seeing more like Alex Hormozy stuff because we were talking about it. But I do
Yeah.
like his wife's stuff a lot, just
Oh,
because she's
really?
saying stuff. Yeah, she says stuff that I feel like I need to hear. Layla Hormozy, she's actually really cool, and she's very candid. Like someone will be like, "Well, you're so beautiful. What do you do?" And she'll just be like, "I got so much plastic surgery." Like she really does not
Mhm.
even care. Um, I will follow a lot of like nothing that's like grindy, but it's all just like uplifting. Like this is like the you can choose to do whatever you want with your day today sort of deal, or everything can change for you if you're having a bad day in one instant, or things like that. Nothing
Mhm.
that's like you don't get to take a break because taking breaks is how you fall behind, and if you fall behind, you will die. I don't like that kind of content.
Yeah, I don't either. No, yeah, never just one avenue to a positive end result. And anybody that says they've got the key to absolutely everything is typically full of shit. Not typically, they're always full of shit. Yeah, no.
I mean, yeah, no, so I will do some background searching because I am a contrarian on some of the people who will be making these very motivational videos. Like people who are speaking from a position of like an authority figure. Like this is what you need to do with your life. You just need to get the fuck over it and move on with your life and do this, that, and the third. And I'll look into what they're doing. I remember a couple weeks ago I saw this lady who was talking about how everybody was now that she's rich, everybody is coming to her and with their hand out, things like that. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? I know how that feels. I'm not like rich, but I know how it feels to have everybody coming to you and asking for things. And I
Yeah.
check her Instagram page and she's not like people will just like get on the internet and just say things so they feel important. I feel like
Yeah.
there's a difference between genuine advice and people who are like
And
that.
then furthermore, with the ability to digest data, and how the internet works, what's being searched, et cetera, right? As SEOs, we do keyword research. We can look up what the hot topics are within any search-based algorithm for the most part and go, well, these are hot topics. And then, yeah, that's when you see the person with like $200 in their bank account come up and be like, if you want to be, and like we've seen, I remember one particular person who I won't call out, but when they started doing these like inspirational posts where they would like just pure smoke, right, being blown. If you want to be successful and make this and do this and blah blah blah, and it's like, my guy, you barely just got out of the service industry, and like we
Oh
know,
my.
the truth of like what's going on. But yeah,
Wow,
but
I've
there's a
heard a
lot of
lot
people
about
like that. Like fake it until you
yeah.
make it is a big thing on the internet, I think. And
I
I
think it's
hate the
embarrassing.
internet because of it. Or
Is that the
that
biggest
part of it.
reason?
That's one of the biggest reasons, yeah, because it doesn't lead to like actual truth. It's just, yeah, it's hollow. I can't stand that stuff.
Yeah, and which is crazy because I feel like you're so averse towards it that you don't want to come off like that kind of person, which makes me so sad because you have so much like a wealth of knowledge to offer. Sorry, Nick, I think you're kind of a big deal, like to be honest with you. And the
Well,
fact that
thank you.
you don't, if
Likewise.
I
But
if I
you
were
know,
you, I would be like all over the internet like, well, here's what I do and here's how you can do it too, but no one would listen anyway. But like I get why you don't, but like how do you do
no,
how?
makes me
How do you do this?
cringe. I guess, like I said, like I came from uh, the background where I had access to both no internet and internet, and I prefer the no internet me as far as
Oh,
I don't know. I was thinking about it recently, and I'm like, I always have these random projects that I'm working on because I jokingly I changed my what's it called,
your cover
banner,
photo.
my cover photo. Thank you. And I was like, just as a joke, I'm like, it's been a while since I've done an art project, which somebody was like, you should do an art project once a month or something like that. And I was like, the funny thing is, I'm literally always doing random projects by myself. Like, I talked to a while back, my son was at school and he told me that his teacher had asked, what does your dad do for work? And I was like, well, so what did you say? Right. Because like, I've never explained it to him. Like, I'm just like, I gotta work. I gotta get on my computer or like, whatever it is. And he goes, well, I told her you're a mad scientist. And I was like, I laughed about it. And I was like, that's pretty accurate. Like, from
Is
like
he
what he's
wrong though?
his perspective is right because like I'm always, especially at home, it's like, yeah, I work on my computer, but that just looks like another facet of like randomness, right? When I'm always working on random projects. Last weekend we built a pea puffer tank together, right, which is like mini puffer fish. So like, but all of these things, like they're more time consuming than like one might think. It's not like a little 1 hour thing. It's like an actual, I try and live my life as if it's an art project. That gets me focused on, like the concept of phronesis, or like if it's something I want to do, then I'm going to be willing to put a lot of time into it to learn it because I think there's some depth there. And yeah, you can go down infinite rabbit holes, but the point is like I'm always doing these random things, both
Right.
on and off the internet, but I don't really like sharing them. And we discussed this too, because then it becomes like a different type of project. If I'm absorbed in this project, I'm giving it my all, I'm working on it, then to inject this like, well, maybe I should be videotaping it and curating what I would say to the camera and shit like that, it would take away from like what I'm actively doing. And the whole purpose is for me to resonate with this thing. So like wanting it to resonate with other
Yeah.
people gets
It gets
yeah,
sticky.
it's on the back burner.
Man, I get it, but it's such a shame because I feel like a lot of people would really want to tune into your little quirky little thoughts and projects and follow your journey in general. But I think
Scary.
that I get why you don't though. Like I wonder if there's a way that we can kind of accommodate that. And I've been harassing you about this for like 2 weeks straight because I'm so passionate about you sharing yourself with the world.
Well, I mean, so people will be able to see me a little bit more. You have talked me into at least a
Yeah.
couple. personal posts per week. And I'll adhere to it. So we'll see.
Yay!
But I am, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about the concept, to be honest with you.
Well, here's how I convinced Nick to start putting himself out there more, even though it's like literally the last thing that he wants to do. I personally have the philosophy around like online presence in general. I think that everybody needs to be themselves so that the people who are looking for them can find them, right?
Mhm.
And I think that when you have like a unique personality, a unique lifestyle, something that a lot of people probably wish that they knew someone that they could relate to that has Nick's particular like way of existing, way of being, his experience. I said Nick's not a person, he's an experience, right? I think that people would actually like feel seen and heard and connected that way. And that's what social media is for. It's for connecting with people and for being
It's fair.
social, even
Yeah,
connecting with other weirdos.
yeah. I follow my weirdos too, right? Both the small ones that live in tents and the ones with a wide audience as well. So I get it. I just, yeah, I don't know. The concept also seems rather exhausting. Like
It is.
you know, yeah, there's a lot to be said for somebody that can really like take that for. I look at it like punishment to receive that much validation from
Punishment,
people.
that's
Like,
deep.
I don't know. Yeah, it seems really exhausting to take in that amount of information that other people have to say about you and digest it. I don't know.
It is. I mean, mm, I have a screenshot folder on my phone. I think I told you about this.
Hmm.
Of
Yes, a
all the
good.
nice things that people online say about me that really touch me. Like people say nice things, but things that actually like really touch me, I put it in my screenshot folder. I have about 200 screenshots now from within the past
Wow.
5 years or so, and
Hmm.
I get like hundreds of comments per video. So it's still like it's saying something that I can only pinpoint like these ones that actually touch me. I
Hmm.
think that that helped me personally with tuning out the noise around other people's opinions and validation and things like that. Because when I see the things that actually resonate with me, they're things about things that are actually tangible. Like you're like I've never heard anybody speak so in depth about this one topic. Thank you. I got a lot of value from it.
Hmm.
Or this really helped me feel not so alone and really seen because I went through something similar and never met anybody else who has before too, things like that. I think that you get what you kind of put into it. So that's why I'm
Sure.
trying to convince you through showing you. Like once you get the ball rolling, you'll be like, wait a minute,
But
maybe
see, you're
it might be worth it.
somebody, yeah, you're somebody though that, and I mean, like you always have an online presence, digital presence, right?
Yes.
But like you've had it through the roof as far as your popularity, right? And
Mm,
then kind of abstained from that after a while, right?
yeah,
So tell me about that. Like you reach a sort of pinnacle and then you decide, oh, it's not really for me because you could still have it, couldn't you? Easily, I would think.
absolutely,
Yeah.
easily. And I
So,
became
yeah.
popular in multiple different niches too. So it wasn't really like a one and
Mhm.
done thing. I got really popular in the cosplay community, then I got really popular in the roller skating community, then I got really popular in the travel community. And I realized that no matter what I'm doing, I just do it and share it. And that's why people like it. But it
Mhm.
had like it became more trouble than it's worth because of that constant feedback loop of what you're saying.
Okay.
So when I feel like it's like on a certain scale towards like medium size, I feel like I was happiest at around like maybe only like 50,000 people following what I'm doing. Now it's like over 200,000 people following what I'm doing. And like some of my videos with millions of views, like thousands of comments. I'm just kind of like, okay, this is not what I want. So I have like my secret account, which I only speak in Dutch, that only has 200 followers. And I'll
Yeah.
use that one a lot more because I can get the benefits of sharing and finding people who are fun and nice to talk to
Mhm.
without having all the constant like people chattering. But I don't know, Nick. We'll have to evaluate that when you get to 50K, see if we want to keep
No,
going.
no, no, no. We're talking about you here, not me. I need to see if it's even something I want to reach for because, yeah, how do you get to that? You get to that point, then you just decide what I'm exhausted with this. I'm going to tone it down, or what happens.
I just stopped posting, period. And then like
Okay.
once in a
Yeah.
while, I'll post maybe like once every couple of months now, and it's just a video of something that I'm doing, like
Hmm.
something that I made. It's always my art. So
Hmm.
I'll have my art could be like my clothes. I'll do very elaborate like costume pieces. My art could be a tablescape where I'll do like very elaborate event planning stuff. I'll just share my art because it's just
Mhm.
something like everybody can enjoy.
Yeah,
With my actual like talking videos, skating videos, art videos, it's just more effort than it's worth for me at this point.
sure. And
Yeah.
but you are somebody that would agree, I think would agree at least. You live your life is your art, right? Like it doesn't have to
Yeah.
be one specific thing. Like, I I remember a friend of mine like being like, you should like paint or like, do something, artistic. And I'm like, every day that I'm waking up and like whether I'm working on my companies or, doing things with my child, like etc., like that is the art, right? It doesn't
Children are
have to
patient.
be do it. Yeah, yeah,
Your
exactly.
current
Like
art, yeah.
all of these things though, like that is you can take an approach to be creative with every single one of these things, and like that is the whole concept of like worthwhile art is creative approach to existence. Yeah, I don't know. I think
I like that.
in turn then you start digesting maybe some people's art, if we're talking like traditional sense, right? Or film or music or any number of things. And then you start to see that, like, it's pretty weak art on a whole lot of levels, especially a lot of the more popular and heavily pushed kind of concepts. Yeah,
For sure.
while there's like this complete forgetfulness to the fact that like every minute that you're alive is it's an opportunity for you to really push creative expression. um and yeah,
Right.
that's the art I'm more interested in now,
If you
versus like
have that kind of like mindset around it, then literally everything can be art. And I
sure.
share very similar beliefs when it comes to art and creativity.
Hmm.
But I feel like the biggest difference is that when people consume your art, you feel like a piece of yourself is kind of being exposed a little bit. It's like,
Sure.
this is for me, right? With my
Hmm.
art, when people see it, I just love their faces like lighting up, you know? Like especially when I'm doing like fashion stuff.
Hmm.
Just even seeing like the way that little girls will like look at me if I'm dressed like a complete princess or if
Sure.
I'm just like their favorite video game character, they'll be like, "Oh my gosh, what's going like what is this?" It's just fun. Or like when people come
Yeah.
over to my house and they see this like elaborate tablescape and they're just kind of like, "Holy shit, like I like this looks like something off of like Pinterest,
Yeah.
whatever."
Yeah, all the
Um
parties you throw, I'm like, it's out like, this last one was out of a winter wonderland, basically, like, yeah, there's a lot of
yeah.
magic in there.
Yeah, and it's for other people. Like it is
Mhm,
a bit for me, but like your art is for you, mine is
mhm.
for other people.
Sure.
And I think it's
Yeah.
just different
Mhm.
approaches, but they're both
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, different approaches to, like, the same concept, I feel like, which is kinda interesting. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
I wonder I want to know if our viewers feel like things are better if they're like for you and personal. That way, like the intention is made specifically to uplift yourself,
Yeah.
or if it's for the uplifting and enjoyment of like other people. So leave a
Yeah.
comment below if you
Yeah.
guys have a particular preference for the way that you choose to do your own personal art, whether it's like art or lifestyle art.
Yeah,
That's
or
a
if you think art is a scam and that's bullshit and everything we're talking about is bullshit, you go ahead and tell us that too. You're a
it's
bunch of
all for money
hipsters,
laundering.
whatever. Yeah. Yeah, well, modern art concepts, if we go back to our scam series, then a
Yeah.
lot of it fits in there, in my opinion.
Hold that thought because this one is very, very art related. And I already know how you feel about this, but I just want to hear you say how you feel about this because, oh my gosh, I didn't know this was a thing. Like, I
Mhm.
kind of had it on my radar. However, Spotify apparently is facing a lot of backlash right now because people are having their playlists flooded with AI generated music. People's musical art is being outsourced to a machine. And Independent artists are reporting that AI tracks are appearing in algorithmic playlists under fake artist names. So they're not even real people they're pretending to be. It's just a random fake artist with a fake album cover with these fake songs that might or might not be gibberish.
Hmm.
Would you listen to AI music, or does that defeat the purpose of art?
I have listened to it. And then like, I've seen videos and stuff, and like while it's got some like interesting creative elements to it, at least now it's like it's in its infancy. So like it all comes out more of like this kind of like dream like slop, I guess, right? But no,
Slob.
yeah, yeah, you're the first person to use that word. Now I see that it's like, yeah,
I'm a
it's the angle
trendsetter.
because it makes sense. That is like it is slop, right? Um, yeah, and I feel like I've tried to give it enough of a, benefit of the doubt that like there's something there, but I can't get behind it. Every time I really start diving into it, to me it seems like there's something missing there that takes away from this whole concept of art. And maybe that's because like AI isn't quite, or it's not sentient at all. Um,
Yet.
at least not yet, right? And so that brings in like, a thought about the future, and a thought about it. Last night I had this really obscure idea that came into my mind, because I see that on Netflix, for example, you're seeing the rise of series, right? Keeps people in the storyline for longer, etc. It's something that people would like to digest, as opposed to like historically, we had our like hour and 20-minute long movies. There's like it starts, it finishes, end of story, right?
Right.
And then I started thinking, I'm like, with AI, essentially you'd be able to keep a ongoing, never-ending storyline going for an individual. So, like, as they're watching the story, it could be generated specifically for them and then keep them in there, which then got me into simulation theory, thinking, well, that could be what I'm currently existing in right now, is my own little Nick TV show, right? Blah, blah, blah. And so, like, but that is it is like a weird, very broad kind of like viewpoint on the capability of what AI could do. Like it could keep you in a loop, perpetual loop, that's basically just like never ending. And if that is like a possibility, then it is a possibility that that's what we're existing in now. Which, if you go to like the beginning ideas of like simulation theory, then it does
Yeah,
all
I
tie into
haven't heard
that,
it. I
right?
know that's an episode of Black Mirror,
Sure.
but
Yeah.
I don't like I didn't dig into I didn't know there were actually people who were like, yeah, we're all living in a simulation. I thought it was just like
Yeah.
a bit. I thought it was a bit.
No, and I'm yeah, I
Nick,
mean, like,
you think
basically,
this is
yeah.
fake?
Yeah, I think we live in a hologram. Physics has basically proven that theory, right?
This is
So
like a regular Tuesday for you, Nick.
it is. Yeah, well, this is why I read my ingredients and stuff. But anyhow, I do. I think yeah, I don't believe that this is purely simulation, because that would mean that you have to give in to your fate, right? Like everything is already controlled for you. But the concept of this being a hologram makes a lot more sense to me, because you do have an ability to manipulate your reality and your surroundings through what you give attention to, what you put your effort into, etc.
Do you like
Um,
change how you approach things with that in mind? Like sometimes you realize like you're just like, oh, we're living in a hologram anyway, and then you just like don't do something or you do something differently.
Sure. Yeah. I think it helps put things into perspective again. Like, we talk about phronesis. So like what is worth doing? If you keep a approach to your life, based on that, then you'll make sure that you're doing more of what you think is important to be doing on your timeline. Where it gets hard is, maybe you want to just play video games for a couple of days or fuck off for a little while, and then you maybe feel guilty about it. But that can all be part of the same concept. Like, you need to rest. You are limited in what you can do. So yeah, I am, somebody that does believe in these concepts. Yeah.
I kind of want to look more into it because I see a lot of stuff like they will appear on my motivational video stream where people will be saying something that at first it sounds like completely psychotic. Like there's this one lady on my feed who keeps talking about how if you think that you're just like God or something, then you can pretty much do whatever you want. You have like convince yourself that you're God and that you can control everything, sort of deal, which is like along those lines. And at first I was like, lady, what the fuck are you talking about? You sound like you just like did lots of drugs. And then I started thinking about it and I was like, wait a minute. She's kind of cooking. She's kind of cooking here.
These things are all baked in to old world religions. They're concepts that, like, we look at them like that, and they might seem, especially like when it's an individual speaking about these things like that, then like it seems almost sociopathic to a certain degree to think that you are God and like you've got an ability to be everything in your reality. I don't know if it quite works that way, but within most old religious texts, you can read them as allegories that will say the information is basically found within you and how you interact as an individual with this environment that you've been dropped into. And I was having this conversation with somebody yesterday as well, where it's like, I personally am not a religious person, but I definitely am a spiritual person in the sense that I do think there are, for lack of a better way to say it, these powers that we can tap into based on a projection of the reality that we want. Now, that doesn't mean like I can't stand it because it's turned into this like new age concept of like I make this vision board and like I'm gonna manifest my Ferrari.
Yeah.
No, like manifestation, as far as like I understand it, or like concepts I think are worth playing with, have to do with like broad strokes and these broad concepts based more so on like the feeling that you want to obtain in life. And if you focus in on that feeling, then as opportunities come to you, you'll be able to take these open doors and like go through them, and they'll lead towards this end result that you're looking for, right? It's not very specific though.
It's made more sense for me because I hear people describe it as like making sure that you are at a frequency of that would allow you to align with whatever you want or something. Yeah. And for me, that always made sense because even if you're looking at it from like a strictly psychological standpoint, if you're not ready to receive something or like to progress with a part of your life, then you will psychologically block yourself from it.
Right.
If you aren't tuned in to what you want, or if you convince yourself that you can't have it, you convince yourself that you can't do it, things like that.
Right.
I think it's kind of like a different way of phrasing a very similar concept that's more like spiritual. But I think that personally, I think it logically makes sense. Like if you're like looking at how the human brain operates and how we actually can control our reality through our own thoughts, because the human brain is a very complex thing. I think that it has merit to it.
Really interesting book called My Big Toe, My Big Theory of Everything. What was his name? Campbell, by Thomas Campbell. And if anybody's found any of this stuff like even remotely interesting, then that might be a rabbit hole worth going down. It's only about this freaking thick, but he was a nuclear physicist who dove into these concepts. And what's funny about this is historically, a lot of people were too scared to talk about these concepts. But if you look at it, there's a lot of people practicing these concepts or exploring these concepts. Like, my favorite father of psychology, Carl Jung.
I knew it was coming.
he had the black books, right? Which they dove into these kinds of concepts, and he couldn't publish them when he was at the height of his fame because he'd be, laughed out of academia. Like this was stuff dealing with esoteric kind of ideology based on, yeah, trying to find truths within yourself that connect you to something larger that are not necessarily yourself. Like he had conversations with beings that resided with him in himself that were not himself, and he openly speaks about this in the black books, etc., right?
Like in
But
a schizophrenic kind of way?
do it.
Like in a schizophrenic kind of way?
Well, he even said, to a certain degree, you don't know whether you're going crazy when you start playing with these kinds of concepts because you're treating these entities that you meet with in your dream state and you're treating them like they're their own real subjects, right? And he goes, to bring this up in like an academic standpoint would get me in trouble, especially right now. But then you see that over the last like 100 years, I'd say it started like getting more open where people start discussing these concepts and they start playing with them. And then you've got people like Thomas Campbell, physicists, right? Science-based people who started exploring these kind of concepts because they've got a real open viewpoint to, well, we're limiting something that is really limitless in aspects to the potential that, it's capable of, talking about the human brain, in conjunction with, math-based science, where, yeah, you've got unlimited potential. So, then you got Thomas who writes My Big Toe, which is a manual on how to dive into some of these concepts and manifest reality better, etc.
I can't
And
take
I
that name
think they touch
seriously.
on. Do it.
I just
Can't
can't take the name of that book seriously. Like I can't
My
read
Big
it
Toe.
just because,
Yeah,
yeah.
toe though, but theory of everything, right? Like, so it's just an acronym. And it's
Oh.
his concept of how everything works, right? And how you can fine tune yourself to interact with this environment, and get a fruitful journey, so to speak. Yeah,
I
I don't
see.
know.
I
I
feel like
think.
there's two types of scientists nowadays. They're like the scientists who are totally for metaphysical things, and they think that,
Mhm,
because humans don't understand everything about science, then we'd be kind of arrogant to deny that sort of thing. And there's
mhm,
scientists who are very like linear in their thought process, and it's like, well, you can't prove it,
right.
so this is complete BS. I feel like I'm somewhere like in the middle, to be honest with
Middle.
you. I'm not a
Yeah.
scientist, but my brother is a scientist and he's squarely in like the right camp. He's just kind of like, okay, like spirituality is all bullshit. And I'll just be talking to him about it. And he's just kind of like, you sound fucking crazy. And I'm like, that's fine. That's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I have like Neil deGrasse Tyson, for
Mhm,
example, kind of in hot water right now, but he makes some good points to where he'll be talking about things that are more like, he'll be talking about like space and like aliens and
yeah.
and his stance is that we are too ignorant to be able to
Yeah.
say for sure that this is a
Mhm,
thing that we can rule out. Like it would be completely just anti-science to say there's no way that there's life anywhere else on but on Earth, because mathematically that is literally impossible.
impossible. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think there are like two camps. With some things, I'm just kind of like, okay, I need to be seeing the pudding here. With other
Mhm.
things that people consider spiritual, I don't know if I'm delusional, but I'll like make it scientific in my head, like what we were talking about earlier,
Yeah,
like
I think that
metaphysical.
why wouldn't you mix and match like all of that together? Like I don't think you get to like a deep exploration of science without and you might not call it spiritual, right? Like I don't know what else to call it, but without tying yourself into something grander than your own individual past your nose point of view, right?
Yeah.
So like yeah, somebody who is deeply scientific in their pursuit of life, I think probably doesn't have another option but to get kind of spiritual with concepts because at some point you're going to find yourself sitting there in the middle of the muck, the nothing, going, well, there's a lot of stuff that like I just, no matter uh, uh, how long I have to pursue the information, like I'll never get to the bottom of it. And I think that's part of the fun
Yeah.
of being human too, is like the the adventure never really ends. There is no finality to it.
Yeah.
We die, right? But like, I don't know if that actually provides finality, if
I
I'm
love,
being honest with you,
I love
right?
how
Like
you
that
add
matter
that in.
keeps going, right? So,
Yeah. Oh, we just
yeah.
sprinkle it in like we have no idea that we're gonna die. You're just kind of like, oh, by the way, sorry to break the news to you, but we all die
Well,
in the end, kid.
yeah, maybe. I don't know, because like then I started thinking about this timeline and I'm like, wow, within this timeline exists a storyline where we could potentially live forever, right? And if that exists within this storyline, then yeah, there's different. That's probably a whole podcast in and of itself, because
Yeah.
it's like, are we going into a trap? Are we supposed? Yeah. Anyhow, any number
I
of
think
things,
that could be
but
the next podcast topic is like technological advancements that are like, could it be like I really, really, really want to talk about like what's it called? Cryogenic, like where
Disney.
the
Yeah, Walt
yeah, we
Disney
like freeze your
still
body and like
alive. Yeah.
yeah, I want to talk about that so bad. So we're gonna have a whole podcast for all things like in that general, technological advancements, because a lot of people like, we talk sometimes before the stream about those anti like the longevity people, like
Yeah, they
the
want to live
anti-aging
forever. What's
people.
his name? The
Brian
new guy that
something.
looks like an alien. Yeah, yeah. They don't
Yeah,
look that healthy to me.
my friend's husband is like obsessed with that guy. So I'm
Really?
like, yeah. And
I don't know, man. I've looked at it, and like anybody with a masturbation log, I just like I don't.
he has
Mm.
a log.
Yeah, yeah. It's a public
Sundays,
log. Yeah.
9
How
a.m.
often he's jerking it? Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, everything is cataloged. Which I don't know. Like, turning human beings into like data sets and numbers like that. I don't really know if I'm I'm not that keen on it, I guess.
I'm that level
Though
of
I
on.
use a lot of peptides, so he's a peptide guy himself. I like that,
Look,
There's good
that's like
stuff
all
there.
he's got. Look, he looks weird.
He
He
looks
looks
weird, yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
Like if I don't know
That
what
dude's
he's
an
doing, but I
alien.
want to do the opposite
He's an
because I don't want to
alien.
look weird.
He needs to get out into the fucking sun, Like he's not an android, and that's like his entire diet and everything seems to be resolving around like this future human state when he's ignoring pretty good amount of his biology. Maybe I'm wrong on this. Like I can't say that I
I don't
know
think
a lot of what he's doing, but that seems to be the premise from what I've seen is like it's all these, technocratic approaches to being a human versus you know
like
good
living
food will go a
experience.
long way. You look at the difference between farm raised eggs that are like free and happy and have good diets versus this crap that we get at the grocery store, and there's plenty of info there
Crap that
too.
you get at the grocery store. I live in Europe.
That's true. That's true. That
Ever
is
since
true.
I moved from the States to first I moved to Turkey, I have really bad gastric issues in the
Uh-huh.
US. Like really bad to the point where I have to build my schedule around gastric issues and look for the toilet wherever I go. The
Mm-hmm.
second I moved, it completely stopped.
Yeah.
Hasn't been
Yeah.
back in years.
There's a lot of
So
interesting stuff to be said about the American diet. That's for sure.
yeah, I was like puffy. Like I wasn't fat or anything, but I was like bloated and my skin was awful and it was literally all that I was eating. And when I moved, I was like, oh my gosh, like did I get prettier? I mean, could have been the
That's
filler,
always
but
that's
who
always a
knows?
plus.
Yeah. So I mean, and that's all I care about. I don't care about living longer. I just care about, being hot for as long as possible. Jesus. And my hair
Well, they
done.
can go hand in hand. What's that one movie with Glenn Close and all of them?
Oh, I know what you're talking
You
about. I don't
actually
remember.
know? I'm like, because
Yeah.
anytime I bring
Yeah.
up a movie to Artemis, she's like, "This is boomer old garbage. I'm not watching that."
Well, it's because you
Death
never
becomes her.
Fatal
Death.
Attraction. That's the one.
No.
No,
Death becomes her, where the
Death. Oh.
doctor,
No,
Bruce
I watched that
Willis,
too.
is
Ha!
keeping them alive for
Yeah.
forever. They got the potion that keeps them alive forever as they're falling apart.
Yeah. All right. Well, if you guys want to tune in to our next podcast, where we will probably, hopefully, be speaking about future advancements in all kinds of things, let us know in the comments below if you want to learn more about a particular topic, and we will go down a rabbit hole and minorly educate ourselves to the extent that the internet actually allows, and then probably rant about our opinion on it later on.
Let us know if you think we're crazy too. That's fine.
I mean, it's not fine. Don't. I mean, you can let us know, but like, just know that you're wrong.
Yeah.
Just let us know.
Yeah.
Anyway, we will see you guys in the next episode, and thank you so much for tuning in. We'll catch you soon. Bye.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching. If you found this helpful, make sure to give us a like, drop a comment, subscribe, so you don't miss out on any future SEO insights. And hey, if you're serious about your rankings, head over to SirLinksalot.co, check out our premium link building services, guides, and free SEO tools. See you next time.